Hello, welcome to this YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing great from the last time we had a lesson here. Welcome. Please subscribe to this channel. Press the bell icon for any notifications in the future. You can drop your comments in the comment section and we study together. Today we're going to look at the golden rules of plumbing. And as a plumber, you need these general rules to guide you whenever you're carrying out this work in the field. So, actually, as citizens of the earth, we normally take part in construction of structures from concept development to actual construction. And this is simply because we all need shelter and other infrastructure in order to make our lives smooth on this planet. Therefore, welcome to Promsom Institute of Engineering, where we make this possible for you. We provide brilliant solutions whenever it comes to issues related to civil engineering and structural design. Therefore, please sit back as we study together. Today, we are going to deal with plumbing, and I will take you through the golden rules of plumbing. You need to be aware of this, be it you're a layman, you're a plumber, whatever, but you need this so that they guide you whenever your plumbing work is done, be it you're the one doing it or your plumber is doing it, so that you know the right procedures that he is going to follow and he does the right work. Actually, plumbing is very easy. Just ask anyone. They normally say, even your grandma could do it right there. We've taken the liberty to compile a detailed list of all plumbing techniques and rules for you and your projects anytime you need a plumbing works done. My name is Engineer Onsongo, a civil engineer by profession, and I will be taking you through. So, welcome as we study together. In this field, a lot of people say that you should never do your own plumbing work and you should always rely on a professional. Well, that is true, but in some cases it shouldn't. You as the client or the consumer shouldn't go around messing with the plumbing fittings if you are not much aware of how they are done, and this could lead to a serious leak or maybe uh, increasing the magnitude of whatever problem you wanted to solve. But actually, there are plenty of smaller plumbing jobs that you can absolutely do on your own as long as you are careful and you know what you are doing. And that is why we're here to guide you through. If you make any mistakes in plumbing, they could be disastrous because we're dealing with water. And if you could affect the plumbing system, wow, people might miss water supply for quite a number of days, or water might get contaminated, and you know the repercussions of that. So you can do justice to yourself, subscribe to this channel, and press the bell icon for notifications in the future. And we will teach you how to do your plumbing job, and these will help you even as we seek to develop this great planet of Mother Earth. We will be having a series of tutorials on the basic principles and techniques in plumbing that you need to be aware of. So please be on the watch out. And you can also share our content to friends, including college and technical institute students, so that they also learn of this concept. So let's straight away move to rule number one. Rule number one states that cold right and hot left. If you're wondering what this rule means, it means that cold water is always to the right and hot water is always to the left of the faucet. A faucet is as shown in that picture there, and we will discuss what is a faucet later on in this study. If you're wondering who came up with this, uh, actually it is written in plumbing codes that it shall be connected in a water system so that hot water corresponding to the left side and cold water corresponds to the right side, as we have already stated. This came about when plumbing was first introduced. Actually, when people started doing plumbing, only cold water came out of the hand pump to accommodate the use, and so because majority were right-handed, to accommodate the majority, when we moved and we started mixing cold and hot water, cold water still remained on the right, and the pump was placed on the right hand side of the sink. When this is actually when dual temperature faucets appeared, and cold water still stayed on the right, and this has led to the plumbing code, which now requires that the faucet shall be connected to the water distribution system, so that hot water is to the left and cold water is right. If you're wondering what was the logic of these people coming up with this kind of rule in a code, the logic was to avoid surprises. Yeah. Imagine you're at a party and you open a tap to wash your hands, and oops, hot water comes out. If it has a very high temperature, it's going to burn your hand. Therefore, to avoid these surprises, because you see, as we have mentioned, the majority are right-handed, so they could reach for the cold tap first. So to avoid this mistake of accidental scalding, which could lead to injuries, they decided that cold should stay on the right and hot should stay on the left. If you're also wondering, we have decided to name a cold with blue, the color blue, and a hot with the color red. Please check out our videos. We have done a video showing different color codes and what they mean. And on the field, we normally use red to denote hot and blue to denote cold. Let's move to rule number. Before we move to rule number two, uh, I had mentioned that we are going to see what a facet is and what it does. Here it is. As we had seen earlier, the picture in our earlier slide was having a facet, and a facet is simply just like a tap, and actually both perform the same function of delivering water or a fluid that is carried by a pipeline whenever they are activated. Basically, actually they mean the same, because they deliver liquid from a pipeline system. But now, in plumbing circles, the field level workers normally recognize a tap as just a simple device that one activates, and it lets out water from the pipeline. Simple as that. It is not complicated. It lets out water on activation, and it holds back water whenever it is closed. A faucet does simply the same thing, because it lets out water from a pipeline, but it normally has a provision for mixing two types of liquids that are normally used in a combination. For instance, if you have hot and cold water, as we've mentioned, they are normally mixed by a faucet, and whenever you activate the cold comes out of the faucet. Whenever you activate the hot, hot also comes out. And whenever you activate both in certain proportions, then the water comes out in a mixed. So it helps us use liquids that need to be combined before use, or in certain ratios that are predetermined, or not predetermined. Therefore, simply they mean the same thing, but faucet is a much more advanced tool that came as a result of having two different types of liquids. The third type, the second rule is check your plumbing regulations. In whichever field we are in, we are normally guided by regulations in this modern society. And in the field of engineering and design, we normally have design codes that guide us whenever we are designing for any system. So whenever you're doing a plumbing work, please use a design code, use design charts, and check what your local authorities um, need for you to do your plumbing job. If the job is so big and the local authorities that require that you need to seek permission before doing a job, please do so. Actually, some plumbing work needs to be signed off by a professional plumber, especially the more sophisticated works like working with broilers and big plumbing systems. So please do not go messing around. If you are not a certified plumber or you have not been guided by a plumber, in case the work is so sophisticated. Therefore, please take a lot of care. Also, plumbing is normally concerned with the supply of fresh drinking water, and we don't need to go around messing with the system because it can affect our water supply, and the results could be disastrous. The cost could be much more than the cost of just hiring a plumber because it could even lead to loss of life if um, poor water quality is applied to the people. Therefore, set rules have to be followed to avoid surprises and eventualities. The third plumbing rule is get the right plumbing pipes. Whenever we're delivering liquid, we need to move water from one location to another. We normally use pipes, and there are many types of pipes that we can use. This is governed by the type of liquid that we want to supply and the considerations of the site. Therefore, whenever you are doing this, whenever you buy materials for your job, buy pipes are one of the most important parts that you need to get. If you are actually getting cheap pipes, there is a high probability you will get a leak in the future because they normally say cheap is expensive. Look for the right pipes, get the right suppliers, and they supply you with the right material, which is as required. Also, whenever you're doing a plumbing job and you need to get the pipes, you also have to consider a few things here and there. The first one is the type of the liquid to be supplied. For instance, if you're supplying a very hot liquid, you do not need to go around using PPR pipes because they have a very huge expansion, almost 10 times more than the GI pipes, that is the galvanized iron pipes. Uh, so get the right pipe for whichever liquid you're transporting. Also, some pipes might react with some liquids, therefore, you don't need to have a liquid which is eating into your pipe. Therefore, please get the right pipe depending on the liquid. And mostly because we're supplying water, then we can use PPR pipes for fresh water supply in areas with favorable environmental conditions and allowable liquid limits. The second thing is environmental conditions, as we have mentioned. Some places might affect our pipes. Probably there are compounds in the water that we are supplying, which might dissolve our PPR pipes. Therefore, please find out all these things before you buy your pipes. We also consider cost. Um, you don't need to go and buy expensive pipes for a very simple job because more than one pipe can do the same thing. For instance, if I'm delivering liquid, which is water, I could use galvanized iron pipes, I could use the PPR pipes that we commonly use here in Kenya, and I could use many other types of pipes. Therefore, I don't need to go for expensive pipes, and there are already cheaper pipes in the market. Also, whenever I'm doing my repair works, I need to consider what I already have inside so that I do not get another material attached to a different one, as these might have problems in the future. And as you have heard me mentioning, there are many types of pipes that we have in the field. We have types made of plastic material, and an example of that is something we call a PPR pipe. If you're wondering what is a PPR pipe, please follow us and subscribe to our channel and check out our videos. We have explained what they are. GI pipes, they are normally used in supply of hot liquids, and their use started way back. Actually, before we moved to plastic pipes, we were using GI pipes. We also have copper pipes and many other types of pipes. Therefore, please, whenever you go to the job, to the shop, and you have your plumbing work, please consider buying the right pipes. Also, after obtaining the right pipes, you need to get the right fixings. Actually, there is no point spending a lot of time choosing very good quality pipes to deliver liquid and very poor fixings. If the fixings between the pipes aren't steady, then you are actually going for a leak. And these might be expensive, as we have said earlier. Therefore, get the right fittings. And generally, in our market in Kenya, stainless steel threaded pipe fittings are the best, according to my advice. So, if you can, please go for those because the threading fixings, whenever you combine them with pipe welding, actually they do a pretty good job. With plastic pipes, actually you need some plastic couplings, so and fittings. Make sure you get a right plumber who is going to get you a fitting that is going to be durable, including if it is a PPR one, let it be one which has not been made with uh, substandard material. Therefore, please also do not go for a cheap option because cheap is expensive, as we have mentioned, and you need to get the right type of equipment and fitting for the right time of job. Whenever we are doing this, we need to have these connections done. And whenever we are doing these threaded connections in the field, then we get to our rule number 5. Always use a thread tape, or which is commonly known as a thread seal for your threaded fixings. Whenever you're using threaded fixings, you need this tape because it is completely going to ensure that your system is watertight. And if your system is watertight, then it means it is an efficient system supplying your liquid. Actually, it has quite a number of advantageous considerations, and the best, the first is that it prevents leaks in your system. Actually, because when you have a very watertight fixing, then you're not going to experience any leaks. The sealant actually provides a barrier around the empty spaces between the pipe threads. Therefore, it prevents water from flowing out in terms of leaks. Also, in terms of cost, it helps you to save on money that you will need to do repairs, buying of other new equipment and fittings in the future. Easy deconstruction is also one of the best. Whenever you want to adjust the plumbing system, you actually open the tape, you unscrew the fittings, you do your repair or your adjustment, and then you put the tape back and you screw back your fitting. It's pretty direct, yes, and very easy to work with in the field as compared to maybe if you use weld joints that could require that you unweld the whole thing as you do your repairs. Strength and convenience are also one of the advantages provided by a thread seal, and because it is they provide strength to the structure by keeping the pipe together. So whenever you're doing your plumbing job, you have actually need fittings. We have mentioned pipes. We have mentioned the use of the thread tip. But before you start the job, please remember to turn off the water. Before you do anything, even if it's only a small job, actually, please turn off the water. Even if you're not working with the pipes, even if you just working with the end fittings for your supply or water from the source, please turn off the water if the system has already been connected to water. Why? Because there is a chance that you might make a mistake, or maybe not even a mistake, you might forget somewhere, and If that happens, you might have water leaking out everywhere and causing a mess. Therefore, it is just like in electricity. Whenever we are working with live wires, it is advisable that you turn off the main switch. First of all, do your electrical repairs and then turn them back on. Therefore, please turn off your water as you do a plumbing job. And whenever you're working with wastewater, the stopcock is usually beneath the sink. Generally, most of the people put it there. So use it to turn off your water and do a good plumbing job. In all these that we are doing, please remember we are in the field of civil engineering, and these pipes are normally placed below the plaster or they are laid on the floor, and sometimes they are covered, they are not exposed on the surface, because you see, when you put them, you are going to have a lot of deterioration in your surface, in your systems. Therefore, please remember, plumbing is a finish and it's not supposed to interfere with any structural element. Whenever plumbing is done as an afterthought, actually, some plumbers normally affect, or they hack into structural elements, or they drill through, and this is not advisable if you do not have the um, advice of an engineer to do so. Therefore, please do not carry out plumbing as an afterthought. And if it's an afterthought, it's better it stays on the surface than drilling through structural elements. Therefore, please ensure that you do not. This is not healthy since production for a service duct. Plumbers sometimes go drilling through these elements, and when they hack, they actually reduce the structural these members, and because they might not have knowledge of about structural integrity, or maybe as a plumber you have not studied how structural elements work in a structure, and you do not know which element is a structural element, please do not hack into structural elements. Always ask your engineer before you do any plumbing job. But in modern world, architects actually provide something we call a service duct. This is where we should install our pipes and any other fittings that we require to maybe adjust in the future. Therefore, if there is no service duct, it's better you place your pipes on the surface, or you place them behind the plaster, but not drilling through walls, or through columns, beams, and even slabs. And if you do so, please do so with uh, the authority of a civil and structural engineer of that project. Therefore, please do not alter structural elements, and as civil engineers, please monitor your works closely. So we have come to the end of our seven basic rules and principles whenever we're doing plumbing. Lastly, we get ourselves into the plumber's corner, and we have already mentioned about the plumbing in structural elements. Actually, if it is not, if the engineer has not provided for this, then let it not be an afterthought. As you can observe in the picture, this pipe has been passed through a column, and civil engineers have a way of doing their calculations and checks so that they pass the pipes through the structural elements. If you're wondering how such a check can be done, please check out our videos. We have done a video on how to design a column using the British standard, and passing a pipe through the column. In the plumber's corner, this is where we engage our plumbers, and generally in the field, these are the times you're probably going to meet. The first term that plumbers commonly use, and it is acceptable naturally, is that payday is always on Friday. So whenever you're doing a job, do not focus on the reimbursement or the payment coming at the end of the day, please, but just know you're going to receive your payment on Friday. Second one is poop doesn't defy gravity, and this great principle, discovered by our great fathers in science, including the likes of Newton, still work to date. So please do not go putting your waste pipes flowing uphill uh, as they are supposed to flow downhill. And lastly, don't suck your thumb. Whenever you're doing a plumbing job, please do not lick your fingers. As plumbers know why we say so. And please let me know in the comment section of what you might think of these rules in the plumber's corner and how they have applied to you whenever you're working out there in the field. So, thank you very much. We have come to the end of our study, and please use and or apply these rules whenever you're traveling out to plumbing job. If you do not stick to these rules, actually, you need to consider them seriously. And if you stick to them, you should be able to work on your plumbing without any massive disasters. We actually hope that this emboldens you whenever you face plumbing issues at home. Just remember the golden rules of this easy trade and get plumb on. If you're not sure whether your plumber is aware of these rules, just email us and enroll with us, and we shall guide you through. So thank you very much, and may the good Lord and blessed keep you, and may his mercies always follow you. Thank you. Please subscribe to this channel and let us know of your comments in the comment section, and press bell icon for notifications in the future. Thank you very much. God bless you.